So if you are on a budget and you want to make a face wash that is affordable to make and does not dry out your skin, stay with me. Let us make this face wash or body wash. You could use it as a face wash, you could use it as a body wash, depends on what you want, but it is one that will not dry out your skin. And guess what? It is actually made with SLES, aka TEXAPON gel. And I know many people will be like, no, I'm not in for this because TEXAPON gel is known for being very drying on the skin. But that is why we have added a twist to this. It contains a large oil phase. It is more like a cleansing cream. You can call it a cleansing cream. You can see how it looks like a lotion instead of a wash. So we are going to make this together, and what I'm doing here is just a lather test to show that even though it looks like a lotion, it actually does a good job of cleansing. And right here, I'm also trying to do a pH test, even though I have already tested the pH of the camera, but I'm still just doing it to show you what it looks like. And previously, I had shown you my hands after drying them off, so they are not dried out completely, but you do well to use a moisturizer after washing your hands or your face or having your bath. So this is the pH. The pH is at 5, which is a very skin friendly pH. So let's look at the formula. I'm showing you the formula here in percentages, and on the other side of the screen you can see the formula in grams. Okay, so this is the formula that I used, and you can use the formula in percentages to scale up in case if you want to make something more than what I made, or you want to make something less, you can also scale it down. That's why it's very good to have the formula on hand. So this is this is what it looks like. It's a creamy body wash that won't leave you feeling dry. So here we are starting our formulation. We have to put on our scale, and we have our 500 milliliter beaker on it. So I'm just trying to tear the scale to get the weight. So because this is a creamy body wash, we would be needing an emulsifier to bring the oil and the water phase together. And our emulsifier for this project, we are using Tego Care, also known as Lotion Pro. It is a mixture of glycerol stearate and PEG 100 stearate. So it is one you can get from any DIY formulator shop near you, and I got mine from Sofix Natural, and it is wonderful in lotions and in any other thing. So we also use cetyl alcohol, which is a co-emulsifier, and it also brings some creamy thickness because our emulsifier does not thicken, it just emulsifies. So we needed something to bring in some thickness, and that's why I used cetyl alcohol. So I'm using cetyl alcohol at just 2%. It brings a good body to the wash. Yeah, so cetyl alcohol is very good to have on hand if you make lotions, if you make anything creamy. It brings this very beautiful texture that I really love, and I always have cetyl alcohol on hand. So done measuring the cetyl alcohol, I tear. After measuring each item, you have to tear so that the scale goes back to 0 and you can get the accurate measurement for the next thing. So the oil I'm using here, the emollient I'm using, is palm kernel oil, which is a very affordable oil. You know, we said we are making an affordable face or body cream cleanser, so we're not using any complicated oils. We are using something very affordable, something we can just find around us. If you don't like palm kernel oil, you could use coconut oil, you could use shea butter, You could use shea oil, you could use baobab oil, depending on what you have. I actually had this palm kernel oil left over from some cold processed soaps I made, so I just decided to add it to this. And then I'm also going to add some dimethicone. Dimethicone brings a kind of slip to the product. It makes it like have a better skin feel. I just love the way dimethicone feels, and that's why I'm using it in this formula. You can leave it out if you don't like dimethicone. So here we are done. We are going to add hydroxyethyl cellulose, which is a thickener, to the formulation. So we just need a very little hydroxyethyl cellulose to stabilize this emulsion, to prevent it from becoming separated. So even though we are using an emulsifier, a co-emulsifier, I find it to be a very good idea to just add polymer just in case, for a better shelf life and for a better texture. So now we are done with our oil phase, and we are going to start with our water phase. So the first thing we're adding to our water phase is SLES, aka TEXAPON gel. So the one I have here is the one that has 85% active in it. There's one that has 30%. So when you are buying, you need to know exactly what they are giving you so that you know how to calculate the active surfactant matter of your product. So this is our TEXAPON gel, which we are adding into the cup. So next, and the star of this formulation, is bitter leaf hydrosol. So this is basically bitter leaf that has been distilled, that has gone through a kind of distillation process to capture the water soluble components of the plant. So this is getting all the benefits of bitter leaf without dealing with the green color or dealing with discoloration. This remains the same way this would remain the same way even after months. So but when you just wash bitter leaf and add it to your formulation, it will change color. So the next thing we're using is sorbitol. So I'm using sorbitol as a replacement for glycerin. I don't have glycerin at this point, but sorbitol is a very good alternative. It's also an humectant that helps to attract moisture and helps to keep your skin from drying out. And in this formulation, because we are using TEXAPON and we don't want it to be drying, we are actually using a good amount of sorbitol. We are using 20% sorbitol. The next thing we're using is actually cocamidopropyl betaine and not cocoa betaine. Cocoa betaine is different from cocamidopropyl betaine. I just wrote cocoa betaine just to keep it short. But then for you as a formulator, you need to know that they are two different products. And cocoa betaine is usually harsher than cocamidopropyl betaine. Now I'm adding citric acid to this formulation, and citric acid is going to act as a pH stabilizer, a pH buffer, and it's going to bring down the pH of this product so that it will be at a skin friendly pH. Because some of the things we have used, like TEXAPON for example, tends to have a higher pH, and even our bitter leaf hydrosol had a pH of about 7 or 8 or so. So we want to bring the pH to 5. That's why we're using citric acid. So now what happened before this clip, I forgot to capture it. I put the two phases in a double boiler, on very, very low heat, and I heated them up to about 60 degrees centigrade until both phases were melted and they had come to be of the same temperature. The temperature difference between them is just about 1 or 2 degrees centigrade. So now they are ready to be brought together as an emulsion, and that is what I'm doing. I really forgot to capture that part, but it's just something you can easily do. You just put a pan and add water into it and lower the heat very well and put the two phases together. I didn't use this plastic container for the heating. I actually turned that phase into another beaker, which I didn't show in here. So I've added the oil phase into, it doesn't really matter, you can add any phase into any phase. It's just that I prefer to add the smaller phase into the bigger one. So for this formulation, it doesn't really matter. So I'm using my spatula to bring it together, but you can see some clumps, and these clumps are coming from the TEXAPON. TEXAPON is not very enthusiastic about dissolving in water, so you may experience that. So I took it off a little bit to really get in there, but I had to later use a whisk. So at this point, I was not able to use my immersion blender, so I just went in with my spatula to just mix it together, and then I later used a whisk. But the easiest way for you to go about this is to just use your immersion blender. However, if you are making a product, a foaming product that is not made with a large oil phase like this, you shouldn't use an immersion blender, because you are going to work up a lot of foam that will take a lot of time to go down. But for this particular formulation, you can use an immersion blender. It's not going to bring up a lot of foam because it's more like a cream than a cleanser. So this is me struggling to get it done, and I did. So that's how this went. And I forgot to capture the part where I added my preservative. I forgot to capture the part where I added my preservative, but I must say that any product like this that you are making, you really do need a preservative. I use liquid Gemal Plus for this formulation. I love using liquid Gemal Plus because it is not very choosy and it works at a wide range of pH, so it is an excellent one to use if you are a beginner. I used 0.5% of it and it was okay. So yeah, so if you have any questions, please ask in the comments, and like, follow, share. Let me know if there's any particular product you'd like to see on here, and I will definitely make it. I'm just starting out and I really forgot to film a lot of this, but just manage it like that and let's go on.